In this video, I've compiled photos that illustrate the progression of the landscape on our new construction home. This home was built in 2010. The intent of this video is to provide inspiration to anyone who's currently building a home from scratch and starting with zero landscaping. Everything you'll see here was done over a period of 8 years. Here you can see our lot when we initially bought it. It was a completely wooded lot in a new subdivision. The lot had to be cleared in order for us to construct our home. Here you can see that the home is up and the lot is cleared, but there's still no landscaping because we're still in the construction phase. At this point, we've completed the construction, but we are not yet ready to begin the grass. We just put in a driveway and we started with a walkway and a patio. Once the walkway was done, we had some loam delivered and we started having some men spread the loam. We also had an irrigation system put in, and once the irrigation was in and the loam was spread, we were ready to have the lawn seeded. Because we have a fairly large lawn, having irrigation was a must. There was no way that we would be able to keep up with watering in the case of a drought. At this point, we have a lawn, but on the other side of our walkway where we're going to put in a landscape bed, a lot of weeds grew in, so we had to clean that out, and then we were able to install a landscape bed. You can see here that the plants are all babies. They're really small, and we started with small plants to cut costs and to keep our budget in line. But in just a few short years, everything has been growing really well and has filled out this bed beautifully. This is the same bed from a different angle, and this was again when it was newly installed, and this is what the bed looks like today. Everything is nice and full and lush. So things grow fairly quickly. So a plant that looks small today in just 2 seasons will more than fill your space. This is another bed on the opposite side of the walkway, and this is a before shot. I couldn't find a good after. This is our back patio, which we made out of a stamped concrete. This is the rebar that they laid as a base to reinforce the concrete. Here you can see the delivery, and our back lawn isn't done yet, which is why we allowed the truck to park on the what will be lawn. We decided to add a seating wall to add some character to the patio, as well as a place to put a fire pit. This is our patio shortly after it was completed and had been sealed, and it gave it a really nice sheen. We later installed a pad for more concrete for us to place a shed on. Since we were going to have a lawn, we needed a place to park our lawnmower, our tractor, and to store all of our patio furniture that would shortly come. This is when the backyard was getting seeded, and now the grass is grown in, and you can see the pad for the shed. We added a prefabricated shed. We went to a shed company and we chose a design that we liked, and they delivered the shed and put it together on site, and we were really happy with it. About a year later, we added a little patio on the side of the shed, where I later added some containers and started doing a little bit of gardening on that patio. Here we can see that the yard is starting to look a little more finished at this point with the lawn furniture and the fire pit, and it's starting to feel a little more done after a few years. I then decided that I wanted to add some plantings on the side of the shed because it would, look pretty to have the shed nestled among some flowers. And so we went and got some paved stones to outline some beds on either side of the shed. These stones worked out really well. We used them in a couple of places, on the beds near the shed, as well as on a bed that we created near our patio. This was done in the fall, and the fall is a wonderful time to set up a new garden area because in just a few months in the following spring, everything grows in so beautifully. This is the spring after we had created these shed beds, and you can see here the limelights with some grasses and a Japanese maple. And this was towards the end of the summer when the limelights started to turn pink. And this was a morning photo. There's still some dew on the shed doors. Here's the patio bed that we worked on. We started an outline with a hose, and again we started with small plants. Here my husband has added an outline of those paved stones that we used near the shed as well. And it creates a nice delineation between the lawn and the planting bed. This photo was taken from, or this video rather, from my above patio looking down. And I love this bed. It is so colorful. I have a number of coneflowers and some roses and some butterfly bushes, as well as some red hot poker and a really big hibiscus that I'm pointing in the corner there, pointing at. This bed is always buzzing with lots of pollinator friends, butterflies and bees and hummingbirds, and I love to just sit here and enjoy it. In this photo, you can see this is the woods that back up to our property. And these woods were infested with weeds, something called briar. They were these really invasive weeds with thorns. And they would sometimes snag on my husband when he was cutting the lawn, or on my children when they were playing on the swing set. And it became problematic, so we decided that we would have that area cleared to keep the weeds suppressed. So the only thing we could think of to keep that area clean was to lay down some greenhouse grade landscape fabric. So we worked on getting that put down with some landscape pins, and that has actually held up really well and has kept the weeds down. But we had to do a little bit of prep before we could do that. So after the weeds were cleared, we had to work on smoothing out this land as best we could. It's very rocky, and there's a lot of roots, so it made it really difficult to get the surface kind of straight before we could lay this fabric down. We also put in a woodland bed on the back of the lawn, and there's rocks outlining those new plantings just because I wanted to kind of create a well so that the water could settle there and the plants would have time to root. And this is an after photo taken last summer. This is another bed around some of the trees that we outlined with some rock that we found on the property. And while very pretty, it tends to be a deer buffet because we back up to the woods, they like to come and have a snack. And this is the after. So we took 8 years to get from the beginning that you saw to this point here. And every year we do a little something. So just like Rome, your landscaping can't be built in a day. Take your time, enjoy the process. Before you know it, everything will be really beautiful and feel mature, and you can enjoy it for years to come. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.